If you are here, it is likely because something within you feels unfinished. You may sense a deep connection that defies logic, a bond that continues to exist beyond distance, silence, or physical separation. Perhaps you feel union in your heart, yet your outer world has not caught up. Or maybe you are confused by the language of the fifth dimension and the third dimension, wondering whether what you feel is real, imagined, or simply longing. Many on the twin flame path struggle with this same question. If union is real, why does it not look or feel the way I expected? This inner tension between spiritual knowing and physical reality can leave you questioning yourself, your connection, and even your faith in the journey. In today's conversation, we move beyond abstract teachings and spiritual buzzwords. We explore what union actually feels like, not as an idea, but as lived experience. Drawing from a recent pilgrimage devoted to union and a heartfelt return to Singapore, this dialogue opens a sacred space to examine union in both the fifth dimension and the physical world. You will hear how union manifests uniquely for the divine feminine, for the divine masculine, and for twin flames together. This is not about chasing outcomes or forcing timelines. It is about understanding the internal shifts, the emotional stabilizations, and the energetic consolidations that signal true union taking place within consciousness itself. By the end of this video, your understanding of union will mature. You will no longer see it as something you must reach, earn, or wait for, but as something you remember and embody. This conversation speaks directly to the soul, bypassing the overthinking mind, and offers a living map of awakening where love is no longer a feeling alone, but a state of embodied awareness. If you allow it, this transmission will soften your confusion, ground your expectations, and reconnect you with a deeper truth. Union is not a future event. It is a present state of consciousness, unfolding the moment you are ready to live it. Stay with us until the end, because what is shared here may gently but permanently shift the way you experience love, self, and the twin flame journey itself. Section 1. Fifth Dimensional Union for the Divine Feminine. Fifth Dimensional Union for the Divine Feminine does not begin with another person. It begins within her own being, in the quiet but profound moment when her inner world comes into harmony. This is the moment she fully integrates her inner yin and yang, the receptive and the directive, the intuitive and the grounded. What once felt divided within her finally finds coherence. As this inner alignment settles, the deep yearning for the external twin naturally softens. The love does not disappear far from it. It remains unconditional, steady, and expansive. But it no longer searches for completion outside of her. In this state, the divine feminine becomes self-referencing. She no longer measures her worth, direction, or sense of safety through another's presence, attention, or validation. Her energy stabilizes within her own field. There is a noticeable calm where urgency once lived, a quiet confidence where longing once ruled. Independence does not arise as an act of rebellion or emotional withdrawal. It emerges organically, as a natural consequence of inner coherence. She becomes grounded in the tangible structures of her life. Her finances, her daily responsibilities, her personal rhythms, and her long-term vision are no longer sources of anxiety or avoidance. They are expressions of her inner authority made visible in the physical world. She shows up for her life with presence and maturity. She takes responsibility not out of obligation, but out of self-respect. Her sense of stability comes from within, not from the promise of reunion or the fear of loss. At this stage, the divine feminine no longer subjugates her reality to another, not even to her twin flame. She no longer pauses her life, softens her truth, or compromises her alignment in the hope of preserving connection. She understands, at a cellular level, that love does not require self-abandonment. True love requires embodiment. She remembers that the love she has been seeking has always been the love she is meant to cultivate, anchor, and live from within herself. This is what inner union truly is. Not detachment, not emotional closure, and not the denial of sacred connection, but wholeness. A state where love flows without dependency, where desire exists without lack, and where connection is no longer a substitute for self-presence. This is fifth dimensional union for the divine feminine, a return to herself, fully embodied, fully sovereign, and fully complete. Before we move into the next layer of this teaching, take a moment to pause and feel what was just shared. Notice what resonated in your body, what stirred emotion, and what felt quietly familiar to your soul. Fifth dimensional union is not meant to be understood only with the mind, it is meant to be recognized within your lived experience. Reflection is how integration begins. If this message spoke to you, I invite you to anchor it. Leave a comment below and share what part of inner union you are currently embodying, or what you are being asked to reclaim within yourself right now. And if you feel called, simply type, "I choose inner union," in the comments. This is not just engagement, it is a declaration of alignment, a signal to yourself and to the universe that you are ready to move forward, whole, grounded, and sovereign. Section 2. Fifth dimensional union for the divine masculine. For the divine masculine, fifth dimensional union begins not through pursuit, achievement, or external validation, but through a profound return to feeling. It is an inward homecoming, a reunion with the feminine presence within himself that was long suppressed, neglected, or abandoned. From an early age, many masculines were conditioned to believe that emotional openness was dangerous, that vulnerability was weakness, and that sensitivity was something to be controlled or overcome. As a result, the inner feminine, the part of him that feels deeply, nurtures intuitively, and connects through the heart, was pushed into silence. Inner union for the masculine is the moment he turns back toward that forgotten inner landscape. It is the moment he allows himself to feel without immediately analyzing, correcting, or judging what arises. Pain is no longer treated as failure or flaw, but as information. Emotion is no longer something to suppress, but something to witness with presence. In this space, he learns how to hold his own wounds with compassion instead of discipline, how to sit with discomfort without hardening, and how to extend love inward rather than seeking it exclusively outside himself. This explains why so many divine masculines sought distorted or fragmented expressions of the feminine in the external world. Third-party dynamics, emotional distractions, or misplaced attachments were not rooted in betrayal or malice, but in misdirected longing. They were attempts to access the feminine energy they could not yet reach within themselves. Without inner access to softness, receptivity, and emotional safety, the masculine searched outward for mirrors of what felt missing inside. When the divine feminine stabilizes her own inner union, when she no longer abandons herself, no longer seeks completion through another, she becomes a clear, energetic mirror. Not a teacher through words, but a resonance through being. Through this coherence, the masculine begins to remember. He feels again, not because he is instructed to, but because the frequency of wholeness awakens something dormant within him. He remembers how to soften without collapsing, how to open without losing strength, and how to be present with emotion rather than defending against it. This process brings him face to face with his inner judge, the internalized voice of expectation, shame, and self-criticism. Fifth dimensional union requires that this voice be met, not obeyed. Forgiveness becomes essential, especially self-forgiveness. Forgiveness for the years spent disconnected, forgiveness for choices made while emotionally numb, forgiveness for survival strategies that once protected him but no longer serve who he is becoming. When the divine masculine forgives himself, the inner war ends. The feminine within him is no longer exiled. Feeling becomes safe again. Love becomes self-referencing rather than externally dependent. This is the completion of his inner union, not perfection, but integration, not dominance or surrender, but balance. And from this place, true union with another becomes possible, because it is no longer used to fill what was never meant to be empty. Section 3. Third dimensional union and energetic calibration. Third dimensional union is not the fantasy of escape or the collapse of two lives into one. It is the lived embodiment of healed souls, meeting in physical form. Two vessels, each sovereign and whole, expressing one shared soul frequency, generating a third unified field that did not exist before their conscious alignment. This field is not imagined. It is felt, stabilized, and sustained through presence, responsibility, and nervous system regulation. Unlike fifth-dimensional union, which unfolds primarily through energetic remembrance and inner integration, third-dimensional union requires embodiment. It asks the body, the mind, and the emotional system to move at a pace that can be safely integrated. This is why slowness becomes essential, not hesitation, not fear, but deliberate calibration. When the divine feminine moves too quickly in the physical plane, the intensity of her electrical charge can overwhelm the masculine system. Her coherence amplifies everything. Her certainty accelerates timelines. Her emotional clarity activates dormant circuits within him. If his nervous system is not yet fully regulated, he may instinctively step back. This movement is often misinterpreted as avoidance or loss of interest, but in truth, it is recalibration. He is not retreating from love. He is adjusting his internal capacity to hold it. In this phase, distance may appear without disconnection. Space may arise without abandonment. Movement occurs without rupture. The bond remains intact, even as physical proximity fluctuates. Often, this stage is led by the divine masculine in the material world, not through control, but through grounded pacing. He senses what the physical structure can sustain. He learns when to advance, when to pause, and when to stabilize before building further. Third-dimensional union is not fusion. It is individuation within connection. Each partner must first stand fully in their own wholeness, capable of self-regulation, self-responsibility, and self-containment. This is the paradox of union. Wholeness in separation precedes wholeness together. The relationship does not replace inner stability. It tests it. It does not rescue. It reveals. When both partners can remain present without losing themselves, attached without collapsing, and connected without merging identities, the third field stabilizes. Love becomes functional. Devotion becomes sustainable. Union becomes lived reality rather than spiritual concept. This is how sacred union enters the world, not through intensity alone, but through calibration, not through longing, but through embodiment. First, wholeness in separation. Then, wholeness together. A clear way to understand this lesson is to imagine two people standing in a room where the lights are slowly being brought up. If the switch is flipped all at once, the brightness is blinding. The eyes strain, the body tenses, and the instinct is to look away. But if the light is increased gradually, the eyes adjust, the nervous system relaxes, and clarity becomes possible. Third-dimensional union works the same way. When the divine feminine arrives, fully activated, emotionally present, energetically open, and deeply certain, the intensity of that light can be overwhelming to a masculine who is still integrating his inner healing. His step back is not a rejection of the light, but a need for his system to adjust so he can remain present without shutting down. In a healthy calibration, this looks like intentional pacing rather than emotional withdrawal. The connection remains warm and alive, communication stays honest, and the bond continues to deepen even as physical closeness or forward movement slows. The masculine may take the lead in structuring the relationship, setting timelines, creating stability, or anchoring shared plans, while the feminine holds her grounded presence without pushing. Both remain whole, self-regulated, and connected to their own center. Over time, as his nervous system stabilizes and her energy remains consistent rather than forceful, the space between them naturally closes again. What forms is not a rushed union driven by longing, but a steady embodiment of love that both bodies, hearts, and lives can sustain. Section 4. The point of no return and ascension acceleration. There is a threshold on the ascension path that cannot be uncrossed. It does not arrive through force, effort, or longing. It arrives quietly, decisively, when both egos finally stand down, when the need to control dissolves, and love is allowed to lead without conditions. This is the true point of no return. At this stage, surrender is no longer an idea or a practice. It becomes the natural state of being. The inner struggle between holding on and letting go ends, not because one side wins, but because the battle itself loses meaning. What remains is presence. What remains is truth. Union accelerates here, not gradually, but exponentially. Consciousness passes through what mystics have long called the 0 point, the eye of the needle, where identity collapses into essence. There is no room for distortion in this passage. Only what is real can move through. As this crossing occurs, energy begins to spiral upward with remarkable speed. The body feels lighter, less dense, as if gravity itself has softened. The nervous system recalibrates. Old emotional weight releases without drama. Frequencies that once oscillated now synchronize. Communication changes. Words become inefficient. Telepathy, whether emotional, intuitive, or energetic, replaces speech. Truth no longer needs explanation or defense. There is nothing left to protect, nothing left to prove. Transparency becomes effortless because there is no longer a self constructed around fear. At this level, regression is no longer a mystery, it has a single cause: ego reactivation. And even then, true collapse is rare. Why? Because this stage is not reached prematurely. It only emerges after sufficient healing has already occurred. The nervous system has learned safety. The heart has learned self-trust. The psyche no longer needs armor. This is why what appears from the outside as sudden union is anything but sudden. It is the result of long, invisible integration. Once this threshold is crossed, ascension does not reverse. Growth continues. Expansion continues. Awareness refines itself again and again, but it does not return to fragmentation. The consciousness that has remembered unity cannot forget it. This is not the end of the journey, but it is the end of separation. From here forward, love is no longer sought. It is embodied. If you've stayed with this message until this point, pause for a moment and feel what is moving inside you. This is not just information you've heard, it is something your nervous system recognizes. Reflection is part of integration. Ask yourself honestly where you have already crossed inner thresholds, where control has softened into trust, and where love has begun to lead without negotiation. If this resonates with your lived experience, share your story in the comments. Your words may be the confirmation someone else is waiting for. And if you feel the truth of this activation but don't yet have language for it, simply type, "I choose love over ego," below as an affirmation. Speaking it anchors the frequency. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Spiritual Universe, and stay with us as we move into the next phase of the journey, where embodiment becomes creation. Section 5. Cues the Divine Feminine observes. The Divine Feminine does not listen only to what is spoken. She watches integrity in motion. She feels whether words are carried forward by action, whether intentions are translated into lived behavior, whether consistency is chosen even when no promise is being watched or rewarded. What she observes is subtle but exact. Does energy follow through, or does it dissipate? Is authenticity embodied, or merely expressed? Is presence steady across time, or only available in moments of emotional intensity? For the feminine, truth is revealed through patterns, not declarations. Anyone can speak love. Few can sustain it. When actions lag behind sincere intent, she does not interpret this as betrayal or failure. She recognizes it as calibration, still in progress. Alignment unfolding, but not yet stabilized. Healing that has begun, but not fully integrated into the nervous system, the choices, the daily life. In these moments, energetic leadership remains with the Divine Feminine, not through control, not through correction, but through coherence. This is not blame. It is resonance. One consciousness expressed through two vessels, each revealing to the other where alignment is complete and where it is still forming. The feminine understands that chasing collapses polarity. Pursuit distorts the field. Urgency fractures magnetism. Allowing, however, restores flow. Presence calls forth presence. Stability invites stability. Embodiment teaches embodiment without a single demand being spoken. So she holds her center. She remains anchored in truth. And in doing so, she becomes the tuning fork through which union remembers its natural rhythm. Section 6. The Shared Soul Mission. At the core of every twin flame connection, love is the foundation. But love is not the destination. Service is. Twin flames do not incarnate merely to experience intimacy or reunion. They arrive with a larger assignment encoded into their bond. Their connection is designed to move energy, to transmit consciousness, to assist the collective shift unfolding on this planet. Union is not an endpoint, it is an activation point. The shared mission of twin flames emerges naturally through resonance, passion, and precise placement in the world. Nothing is random. Where they are born, the work they feel drawn to, the environments they inhabit, and the people they encounter all form part of a larger orchestration. Their souls recognize where their frequency is needed most. Some twin flames unite first, stabilizing love within form, before stepping fully into service together. Their union becomes a living transmission, teaching through presence rather than instruction. Others are called to serve first, often independently, preparing their nervous systems, clearing karmic residue, and anchoring wisdom long before physical union occurs. In these cases, service itself becomes the bridge that eventually allows union to sustain itself. Many planetary twins do not work side by side in visible ways. Some operate at a distance, across continents or timelines, anchoring energetic grids, activating earth lines, and stabilizing frequencies beneath the surface of collective awareness. Their work may never be publicly recognized, yet its impact ripples outward in ways that defy measurement. Others are placed directly within relationship structures that are meant to be dismantled. They come to break inherited templates of attachment, power imbalance, sacrifice, and fear. Through lived experience, they dissolve karmic paradigms and then embody the new blueprint they help birth, showing what conscious partnership looks like when sovereignty and love coexist. After union, the energy changes fundamentally. It becomes holographic, no longer confined to the personal story. It moves multidimensionally, spiraling rather than looping, luminous rather than consuming. The connection radiates outward, touching people, places, and timelines far beyond the couple themselves. This is not a mission chosen by the ego. It is a frequency remembered by the soul. This is the shared soul mission in motion, love embodied, service activated, consciousness made visible through form. Section 7. Karma, Dharma, and Daily Life. True union can only stabilize when karmic charge dissolves. The looping of cause and consequence softens, completes, and releases. What remains is neutrality, clean, present, unburdened. In this space, karmic lessons no longer govern experience, only dharmic grids remain. Dharma is not obligation. It is alignment in motion. It is life organizing itself around truth rather than compensation, fear, or repetition. When fifth-dimensional love births itself into third-dimensional reality, the change is unmistakable. Love stops being an internal state alone and becomes a lived architecture. Fear no longer dictates decisions. Urgency dissolves. Life simplifies, not through loss, but through precision. What is unnecessary falls away without struggle. Children begin to rise in frequency, responding to coherence rather than command. Their nervous systems soften, their clarity increases. They mirror the stability of the field they are born into. Work shifts as well. Jobs either align with the new frequency or naturally fall away, not as punishment, but as recalibration. False structures, those built on scarcity, compromise, or distortion, cannot sustain themselves in a unified field. They collapse under their own weight. Abundance replaces survival. Not excess, but sufficiency with ease. Resources arrive in rhythm rather than through strain. Truth replaces illusion, not through confrontation, but through exposure. What is real remains. What is false cannot hide. Union quietly deactivates the matrix. The invisible systems that once governed identity, worth, and time lose their authority. Life reorganizes itself around authenticity, choices made from resonance, relationships formed from clarity, and creation guided by presence rather than pressure. This is not escape from the world. It is embodiment within it. Karma completes. Dharma activates. And daily life becomes the living expression of union itself. Section 8. Hope for the divine feminine. You are not delusional. You are not wasting your time. And you are not alone. What you have been sensing, carrying, and stabilizing is real. It is not fantasy, wishful thinking, or emotional attachment disguised as spirituality. It is awareness unfolding through lived experience. The path has been demanding because it is precise, and because it requires integrity at every level, emotional, energetic, and embodied. When you do the work, your twin does the work. Not always visibly, not always simultaneously in form, but always within the same field. You are mirrors of one another. One consciousness expressed through two polar vessels, learning balance from opposite directions. When you choose healing over reaction, truth over fantasy, and self-respect over longing, the field recalibrates for both of you. Nothing done in coherence is ever lost. Union is not forced into existence. It is allowed through love, integrity, and surrender. Those who remain anchored in these principles do not miss their union. They become the condition that makes it possible. Control dissolves, timing aligns, resistance releases. Ascension does not move in a straight line. It is a spiral. Pain and illumination often rise together. Old wounds surface precisely because the light is strong enough now to dissolve them. This does not mean you are regressing. It means integration is underway. And still union comes. Not as a fantasy fulfilled, but as truth embodied. Not through effort, but through readiness. Every time, without exception, hold your center. Trust the work. What is real cannot be lost, and what is aligned cannot be denied. Section 9. How to know this is a twin flame. There is a simple truth that cannot be argued away. The love never leaves. It does not fade with time. It does not complete itself and move on to something else. Karmic love ends when the lesson is learned. Once the teaching integrates, the emotional charge dissolves and the bond loosens naturally. Memory may remain, gratitude may remain, but the pull releases. Twin flame love does not behave this way. It remains constant, regardless of distance, silence, or circumstance. It follows you quietly through dreams and waking life, through moments of stillness when no thought is present, through names that repeat, songs that surface at impossible moments, familiar scents with no physical source, numbers that appear with uncanny precision. These are not signs to chase. They are confirmations of continuity. The mind will question this. It is designed to. The mind looks for proof, timelines, and resolution. The soul does not need them. It knows. It recognizes the frequency, not the story. It feels the sameness beneath changing forms, the unbroken current moving through time. Even in separation, the connection does not fracture. It hums beneath awareness, steady and unmistakable. The red thread never breaks. It may stretch. It may go unseen, but it does not sever. This is how you know. Section 10. Final lifetime and cosmic purpose. Twin flames incarnate in pairs at critical evolutionary thresholds. They arrive when consciousness is ready to shift, when old systems can no longer sustain themselves, and when new templates must be anchored through lived embodiment. They are not followers of the age, they are leading light rays, carrying frequencies that reorganize reality simply by being held consistently in form. For those who reach union, this is the final lifetime. Not because life ends, but because separation does. This is the incarnation in which unconditional love is mastered in the physical, not as an ideal, not as a spiritual concept, but as daily practice through bodies, choices, relationships, work, and presence. Love is no longer tested through loss or distance. It is stabilized through embodiment. This marks the transition from carbon to crystalline, from density to coherence. The nervous system recalibrates. The heart becomes a governing center rather than a reactive organ. Identity shifts from fragmentation to unity. What once required effort becomes natural. What once felt distant becomes lived reality. They ascend together, not by leaving the earth, but by anchoring heaven within it, never to separate again. because the lesson of separation has completed its purpose. Through their union, new templates are born for humanity. Relationship no longer requires sacrifice of self. Love no longer demands abandonment of truth. Power no longer arises from dominance, but from coherence. These templates carry sovereignty, freedom, and authenticity as their foundation. This is not myth. It is architecture. Heaven on earth is not a future promise. It is a frequency made visible through those who remember who they are and why they came. This is the cosmic purpose fulfilled. Section 11. Childhood Trauma and the Path of Mastery. Twin flames do not choose easy beginnings. They choose the hardest paths, not as punishment, but as preparation. From early childhood, many are placed in environments that test safety, trust, worth, and belonging. These experiences are not random misfortune. They are initiations designed to build depth, discernment, and spiritual authority. Greater obstacles are not signs of failure. They are the raw material of mastery. Childhood trauma, in this context, serves a precise function. It activates dormant strands of awareness within the DNA. It forces consciousness to wake early, to develop sensitivity, resilience, and perception beyond the ordinary. What fractures the surface personality becomes the pressure that reveals the soul's true capacity. This is not about glorifying pain. It is about understanding its alchemical role. Twin flames go first. They carry what others cannot yet hold. They walk through emotional terrain that would overwhelm many, not because they are stronger in ego, but because their nervous systems and souls were designed to transmute density into coherence. Through their healing, something collective is healed. Patterns of abandonment, abuse, silence, and shame are brought into awareness and dissolved at the root. What is integrated within one pair ripples outward through families, lineages, and generations. In this way, they become living templates of transformation, not by preaching, not by teaching, but by embodying what is possible when trauma is metabolized rather than repeated. Their mastery is not perfection, it is integration. And through that integration, a path is quietly opened so others may follow, with less pain, less confusion, and more light. Section 12. Transcending fear through love. Fear has a purpose, but it is limited. It serves physical safety, not spiritual limitation. It alerts the body to danger, but it was never meant to govern the soul. The mind fears annihilation. It fears loss of identity, control, and familiarity. It resists surrender because it believes safety lies in holding on. The heart does not share this fear. The heart understands continuity. It knows that nothing real can be destroyed, only transformed. Transcendence does not require fighting fear or trying to erase it. It requires witnessing. When fear arises, observe it without judgment. Do not shame it. Do not dramatize it. Let it speak without giving it authority. When pain surfaces, hold it with compassion rather than resistance. What is met with presence no longer needs to shout. In this space of awareness, fear dissolves naturally. This is universal law. Nothing held in unconditional presence can remain distorted. What is seen fully is integrated. What is integrated no longer controls behavior. Love, by its nature, is infinite. Fear, by its nature, is finite. It has an edge. It exhausts itself when no longer fed. Every movement toward love is a movement toward light. Every choice rooted in truth expands consciousness. You do not need to force ascension. You simply need to stop resisting love. Allow the divine to move through you, not as effort, not as striving, but as permission. This is how fear completes its role, and love becomes the governing force of your life. Twin flame union is not a fantasy reserved for dreamers, nor a story meant to distract you from real life. It is remembrance. It is the soul recalling what it has always known beneath layers of fear, separation, and forgetting. This union is not something you chase, earn, or prove. It is something you allow by returning to truth. A marriage made in heaven does not descend dramatically from the skies. It awakens quietly within the human heart and then reactivates on earth through lived integrity, conscious love, and embodied presence. Through love, humanity remembers its innocence. Through surrender, we release the illusion of control that kept us fragmented. Through truth, we reclaim sovereignty over our inner world. Twin flame union does not remove you from life. It anchors you more deeply into it. It does not dissolve responsibility. It refines it. It does not erase individuality. It restores wholeness. Two souls meeting in truth are not escaping the world. They are helping heal it. When union occurs, something ancient shifts, not just for the pair, but for the collective field. Fear loosens its grip. Scarcity begins to dissolve. Love stops being an idea and becomes a frequency that lives in choices, boundaries, compassion, and courage. This is how heaven remembers itself through human form. This is how light learns to walk. So let there be light. Light it is. Let there be love. Love it is. If this message resonated with your soul, I invite you to anchor it. Leave a comment below with the words, "I choose light and love." Let that be your declaration, not to me but to yourself and to the universe listening. If this video spoke to you, please like it, share it with someone who may be remembering too, and continue the journey with us. Watch the next video below, where we go even deeper into what it means to live this frequency in your daily life. Your remembrance matters, your presence matters, and the light you carry is needed now more than ever.